Hey guys, I'm John. In case you didn't know, I'm Italian. Hey, look at me, I'm Italian! One of the most stereotypical Italian-American dishes I can think of is chicken parmesan. And it's terrible almost everywhere I've ever had it at. I don't think people really even consider making chicken parmesan at home. It's so much better than what you're gonna get at a chain Italian restaurant. Just say no to pre-breaded frozen chicken dunked in a fryer, some crappy jar or canned sauce on the top, and some mozzarella cheese. That's terrible. We can do a lot better. Chicken parmesan is incredibly simple, super delicious, and fun to make at home. Let me show you how.
All right, the first thing we're gonna do is dice half a yellow onion. Put the palm of your hand on it and slide your knife across. Then turn it a quarter turn and run the knife along the front of your knuckles, keeping your fingertips out of the way. And then kind of rock your knife across it, keeping the tip of the knife on the cutting board to get a nice little dice. We're going to saute that on medium heat with a good amount of olive oil, some dried basil, salt and pepper. We're really not trying to get any color on the onions. We just want them cooked through and translucent. While the onions cook, rough chop about 5 cloves of garlic. It doesn't need to be super finely minced, just diced up enough to kind of break down in the sauce. Once you add the garlic, you only need to cook it for about 2, maybe 3 minutes. You don't really want caramelization on your garlic. Once garlic starts to get some color and caramelize, it adds a different layer of flavor that has its purpose but doesn't work well in the sauce. Once the garlic is cooked, we can add 3 cans of diced tomatoes, season them with salt and a pinch of crushed red pepper. We don't want it to be spicy, but the tiny pinch of crushed red pepper adds a nice little background flavor that you wouldn't necessarily know where it came from, but it's really nice. I like to crush the tomatoes with the back of my spoon, kind of draw out some of that extra moisture from them. And then once the tomatoes get cooked down after about 20 minutes, and most of the moisture has evaporated, we're actually going to add some chicken stock, maybe half a cup, just to add a little bit of liquid, and then the flavor of the chicken stock ties in nicely with the chicken parmesan. Then you can hand tear some fresh basil and add it in. Be sure to taste and adjust the seasoning if necessary. Next, we're going to cut our chicken. Most people would cut it across long ways and get 2 really thin pieces of chicken. I like to cut it across the top, so that way you get 2 kind of fat pieces. It makes it a lot easier to not overcook it and retain some moisture. Season the chicken on both sides with salt and fresh cracked pepper. And then we're going to do what's called a standard breading procedure with flour, egg, and breadcrumb. First, dip the chicken in flour. Coat it really well, but make sure you shake off the excess. Then do the same with some beaten egg. Just dip it in and kind of let it drain off. If you have too much egg on there, your breadcrumbs will fall off. And then into our breadcrumbs, we're going to grate some fresh Parmigiano Reggiano with a Microplane to add another layer of flavor. If you don't have a Microplane, I'll put a link in the description. They're a super handy kitchen tool for grating cheese or zesting citrus. They're a nice tool to have. Mix in the Parmesan to the breadcrumbs and then coat the chicken really well. Be sure to coat all sides and kind of push it in so it sticks to it. Then heat up a pan on medium heat with some canola oil or some sort of neutral oil. Safflower oil is really good. Throw a piece of your breading in to check and see if it's hot enough. It'll kind of sizzle and bubble if it's ready. Put in your chicken and cook for 4 to 5 minutes on each side, or until golden brown. When you turn the chicken, be sure to turn it away from you so you don't splash any hot oil on yourself. That's kind of a little pro tip people don't really think about. Then get a 9x13 baking dish and ladle a little bit of your sauce in there, just enough to coat the bottom. Place the chicken pieces in there as they come out of the oil and top with sauce. While the chicken's frying, I'll go ahead and grate all the Parmesan cheese just to speed things up. I kind of pillow it on there and make it nice and fluffy. Cheese on chicken Parmesan is kind of a highly debated subject in my world. Most places use mozzarella cheese, and that's fine. I mean, melted mozzarella is delicious, but Parmigiano Reggiano has a ton of flavor, a ton of umami. And even though chicken Parmesan is not named for Parmesan cheese, it's named for being from Parma, Italy, Parmesan cheese just makes perfect sense to me. Bake at 350 for about 20-25 minutes until the thickest piece of chicken temps at 160 degrees. Disclaimer, chicken has to be 165 degrees internally to eat it, but if you wait till it's 165 degrees to pull it out of the oven, it's going to carry over to 170, maybe 175. It's going to be overcooked. If you pull it at 160, it's definitely going to carry that extra 5 degrees. Just leave your thermometer in it on the counter, and that way you can ensure that it reaches that 165 degree temperature. But chicken Parmesan at home is super, super simple, super delicious. You'll never want to eat it at a restaurant again. I mean, it's not the same once you've made it this way.